Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm continuing my Astro journey, and today I'm going to try deploy Astro website on Cloudflare Pages. We will enable server-side rendering, and we'll add an authentication flow. We're going to use GitHub Authentication and the Lucia library to do the job. So first of all, let's go to our terminal and generate a new project. So Cloudflare provides a template, and you can pass framework Astro, and it will just generate everything you need. So let's run this. So dependencies are installed. Let's deploy our application straight away. It is using a tool called Wrangler, which is a CLI tool to manage Cloudflare resources. So as you can see, our deployment finished, and we have this URL where the application is deployed, and here we have our basic Astro website deployed. Basically, we have our index page.astro, which is a specific format where you can combine your JavaScript right here at the top with your layouts. So first of all, let's remove everything that we don't need. So I'm going to remove this thing, and I will remove everything from inside our index page, and let's add a div. Saying hi. And we can try run npm run deploy, and it will push our changes to Astro, to the Cloudflare Pages deployment. Yeah, so we have our hi there. It's not visible, but that's because in layouts we have some more custom styles. So if we go here and just delete everything again and run deploy, we can start from here. And next step, as I said, we're going to use GitHub. Let's create our application there. So you can find it under settings, and if you go to developer settings, then OAuth app and register new application. So let's call it Astro Cloudflare Pages, and home URL will be just this. And authorization URL will be login GitHub callback. So after we click register, we'll have our client ID, and we'll have our client secret that will generate. So we're going to use Lucia Auth. So docs are here. And let's go to getting started in Astro, and let's install some dependencies. So let me open a new tab. So install Lucia. Then we will have to create this authentication TS file and set up the middleware. So let's actually start from the middleware. So let's copy this, and we want to create a new file in source folder. New file, middleware TS. Let's put everything right here. And also let's create a lib folder. So let's create lib. And let's add a new file, OSTS. Then if you, as me, don't like this relative pass, we can configure aliases. So the docs are here. So instead of doing this and track the nested folders and relative paths, we can just add these lines So it will be in the tsconfig. We go to compiler options and we just put it right here. I need a comma. So components, we don't need assets for now, but we can change it to lib, and then this will be lib as well. We can just do lib/auth. And here in we want to create our Lucia client. The thing is that we're going to deploy it in Cloudflare, and in Cloudflare we have to create clients on each request. So if we go to getting started, I think, or no, the database, then SQLite, and let's go to Cloudflare D1. That's what we're going to use. And as you can see here, we're creating a function that will initialize our authentication client. Let's grab this and let's go here. Paste. Cool. And we need adapter, but I was thinking to use Drizzle ORM instead of plain adapter. So we can go back into database, go to Drizzle ORM, grab this line. Let's install this dependency. And also we'll need Drizzle itself, install Drizzle kit and Drizzle ORM. Drizzle ORM. So after that, we want a new folder and we want a new file. Let's say db schema ts. And here we'll put our tables definitions and that we'll need. So we want these two. Let's actually grab everything and we'll remove what we don't need. So we don't need this, we don't need this. Drizzle, nope. Yeah, and here we want export. So user table, let's say users, and session table sessions, and we want to export that like so. And then here we want also GitHub ID, which will be integer, and the table field will be GitHub _ID, and it should be unique. And then we have username, just text, user name, like so. This is just two tables that we'll need for authentication. So user table will store the records of our unique users, and then sessions will be mapping between the session cookie to the user. Cool. So once we have this, I think we need to update this as well. So let's do a new line, and we want it to be db. This will be db. So now in authentication, we want to use Drizzle adapter. So we want this line. Let's paste it here. We don't need D1 adapter, so let's remove this. And here in the adapter, we just want this thing. So let's add it. Adapter. We don't need this, and we don't need these lines. Cool. So DB is the Drizzle DB, and we want to get it like this. And this will be D1. And the Drizzle will come from Drizzle ORM. but the import will be like this, I think, D1, yeah. So also we have session table and user table, but we can do it with import session table, and it should work, and the user table like this. Cool. Let's rename this to Lucia. So yeah, this looks good. Moving next, we want to build some new API. This is a tutorial for GitHub Authentication. And here you see we provide some mapping. So we want to grab this thing and put it inside here. For now, we don't really care about secure cookies, so let's say false. And then we need to add this database user attributes. And we want a new type interface for that, so it will be like this. And we can put it right here. So we want to extend our types, and we want to put this line here. All right, so this is what we have at the end. We created a Lucia client. We passing Drizzle SQLite adapter inside, and then we have some config. So for the session cookie, we say attribute secure false, but in real app, you will want this to be true when you use SSH, HTTPS in production. So, and for get user attributes, we want to expose something additional, because by default, it will be only ID that exposed by default. So we want GitHub ID and username to be exposed as well. And for that, we declared a new interface and added it here in the Lucia module. Cool, so that should work. And after that, let's start building our pages that we need. We need this Arctic library, and it will provide some useful functions to create authorization URLs, validating callbacks, and like refreshing tokens, etc. So sign-in page. So we want pages/login and our index Astro. Let's do this. So we want pages and then new file. So it will be /login index.astro. Let's put it right here. And now in our index page, let's add a new link to our login page. So it will be ahref/login, and it will be login. This. And I think we're kind of ready to try and deploy that. npm run deploy. Nope, we're missing something. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, Lucia is not export. Yeah, so we want to change this to be initialize Lucia. And then here in the middleware, we want to get the client first. So it will be const Lucia equals initialize Lucia. And also we forgot to add the database. And to do that, we need to run npm npx wrangler D1 create, and this will create database for us in Cloudflare. We just want these lines, and then you go to wrangler toml and paste it here. We don't need this. and really we just can remove everything from here. So this is our database. The other thing is that we need to add that into envs. So just trying to remember D1 Astro DB. No, Astro. Yes, we're here on deploy Astro site in Cloudflare docs, and if we scroll to their bindings, there'll be an example. So yeah, here we go. We want this, and it will be in env env.ts. We just go right here and we put our new type. So here we have D1 database, and we need to change this as well. So it will be D1 database, like so. Then we want to change this to be env, and here in envs we want D1, and this D1 will be D1 database. That's it. Let's remove this. And the other line is we want now to extend to include that in runtime. Yeah, so we already have it here, right? We just want to move this line like this, under this. So yeah, this works. And basically what we have now is when we have access to the context, we can do context.locals runtime.env, and we should have our database right here. So one other thing, this is not happy because we want to extend our Astro configuration. So we should know that inside locals, it sometimes will be session and user. And I think we can grab it somewhere from here. Getting started Astro. Yeah, so we want this interface locals to include these two lines. And again, right here, runtime, paste. And now our error should go away. Yeah, so we have this thing. So in our index page, we now can do things like const, and we can destructure a user, and it will be from astro.locals. And here we can say something like, if user is there, we want to say something like JSON stringify user. And if not, let's just grab this block and put it right here. Cool. The thing we're still missing is our database is empty. I mean, we don't have tables there, and we can actually generate those things. So if we do npx, let me search for the command. So yeah, this is from Drizzle kit. We can generate migrations from our schemas. So here in the schema, we're using the path to our schemas.ts file. And if we run that, we now have these migrations, and we have our sessions and users tables generated. And the only thing we need to do now is to run npx wrangler and then D1 apply migrations and with the flag remote. So if we run this, we should see our tables in Cloudflare D1. Yes, okay. And let's try once again to see if we can deploy it now. I think we fixed the problems that we had. All right, so we have our updated homepage. If we click login, we should go to our login page, and now we can click sign in with GitHub, but we don't have yet the API for that. So let's fix it. We need to go to the docs and GitHub Authentication Astro, and then the first one will be create authorization URL like this. So it will be login GitHub, and yeah, let's do this. So we want create a new file. It will be login GitHub index.astro. Paste it here. Index.ts actually, right? Yeah, so we have our GitHub client. So let's call it initialize GitHub client. And if we go to authentication namespace, we want to create a new function, export function initialize GitHub client. So want env. And to create a client, there is a client creation is just this. So we want an import from Arctic, and then we're using this new GitHub. So we want to return that. And we want to use our env that we pass like this. Cool. So this will work, except we need to define our envs, right? So it will be GitHub client and GitHub secret. We have it right here. So we have GitHub client ID, which is string, and GitHub client secret, which is also a string. That's good. Now we need to go to our GitHub application. So this is the client ID. Let's copy it, and this is my Cloudflare dashboard. This is our new created pages project, and we go to envvars and then add a new one. So the value will be this and the name ID, and let's encrypt that and save. And we want a new one, add var, and we want client secret, and it will be from here. So we're now generating a new one. I need to use my phone for that. '69 approve. And here we have it. This is our secret, which I will delete after I record the video, but here we go. Encrypt. and save. So what we've done now is we added 2 secrets that will be available in the runtime. All right. Moving back to our new API, like this. So the thing we're missing is we need to create GitHub client from initialize. Why it's called Lucia? Yeah, we definitely don't need this bit. We'll fix that. So let's go back to into here. Let's remove this. So initialize GitHub client, and we're just passing context dot it was locals dot runtime dot env. Yeah. So we're creating the client and we're generating the state, and then this basically is a function from the library that will create authorization URL for us. We're setting the cookie and then we're redirecting to that authorization URL. That's good. Let's now run npm run deploy. Right, this is done. Let's go to our page, reload this, and when we click on sign in with GitHub, I expect that we will be redirected to GitHub to run the authentication process. So let's click it. Yeah, and you see we have this page, but if I click authorize, it will be redirecting back to us, but we don't still have the callback implemented. So we need to register this API in our Astro app to make that working. So let's go to docs again. And now we want here validate callback. So it will be this path. So I want a new file. And this is what I want inside. Just paste it here. So this will be initialize Lucia and initialize GitHub client. It's good. Cool. Then here we want to create the client first of all. So let's do const GitHub initialize GitHub client context dot locals dot runtime dot env, and we want to do same for Lucia. Initialize Lucia context dot locals dot runtime dot env dot db d1. How it's called, d1. Actually, maybe that's not right. Let's check. We have it. We called it d1 right here. But that should match the binding name in our Wrangler TOML file, and we have db here. So actually, let's change that to be db. And a couple places, I think, yeah, so here it will be db. And in our new handler that we just created, callback, right, so it will be db as well. So after that, just like some code that will check the cookies and the status code, then we will have, we validate the token, and after that we basically have the token, and now we can do calls to GitHub API. What I've noticed as well, we need to pass a user agent, because if you're not passing that, there will be a exception, like an error code returned back from the GitHub API. Let's just call it Astro Cloudflare Pages. Okay. Hope that's right. And the other thing is we want our Drizzle import Drizzle, but from D1, and we want to initialize that. So let's say const db will be Drizzle, and then here it will be this thing. And also, I think we want schemas. So let's do import everything as schemas from db schema. Let's call it schema. And then we can pass our schema right here. So it will be schema. And after that, we can write queries. So const existing user will be await db dot user dot query dot user table find first, and here we want to pass where, and here it will be equal. Now we want to import equal from Drizzle ORM. So equal will be schema dot user table dot GitHub ID, and that should be equal to GitHub user ID. I think we said that it is integer, right? Yeah, so we want to do parse int GitHub user dot ID. Now we can remove this. So we're checking if we have existing user by getting it by GitHub ID from the table. If it is there, we're just updating the session cookie and redirecting. If not, we are now creating the user. So we want to do await db insert schema dot user table, and here we want values dot values, and we want to pass our new thing, so this, right? And I think it's not happy again because, yeah, first of all, we want GitHub ID, and this will be parse int, like so. So now that should all work. So we're inserting a new user and then we're generating a new session from that. Let's run npm run deploy and see if that works. This is updated. We go to our application. Let's go back. Let's trigger the flow. Click authorize. We are redirected back, and you see we're now printing the user information that we have. And finally, let's adjust the final bit, and it will be sign out. So we want this form to log out. We go to our index, and here, if we have a user, let's put our form right here, and let's wrap this into a paragraph. Let's run deploy and see. But while we're creating the new deployment, let's create a new function. So it will be API logout, right? So we want a new folder here. So it will be new file, API logout index.ts. And let's copy this thing. Again, this will be initialize Lucia. And here we want to create the client first. Const Lucia initialize Lucia context dot locals dot runtime dot env dot db. And here we're just invalidating session and basically creating a blank session cookie and redirecting back to /login. It's good. Let's run deploy. Cool, it's there. Let's reload this page. We now have this sign out. Let's see what happens if we click on that. I think maybe it's not index.ts. Maybe it just should be logout.ts. Let's move it here. Let's remove this folder. Let's rename it to be logout.ts. npm run deploy. Let's try it once again. Okay, so we have our sign out button. Let's click on that. Yeah, and now it works. We are redirected to login. If we go to the root page, we now just have this login. If we follow and try it once again, we should be redirected back and we have our user information and we can sign out. And our user is stored in D1 database. We can check it right here. If we go D1 and then Astro Cloudflare Pages, tables, and we have users. And here we have my GitHub, like my user created from my GitHub account. Cool, so that's it. I'll push all this code into a repo so you can take a look. But I think it's pretty cool that you can build it that fast. And also you don't have to use D1 if you don't want, like there are other options. You can use Torso, you can use any literally any database available, and most of that has an adapter in Lucia Authentication library. But if it's not there, the adapter, it's pretty easy to write. It doesn't take much time to write a new custom adapter. I also checked there is a Astro DB adapter. It's just not included yet into the main package, but you can install it additionally and it works. But I thought, like, as I'm doing it on Cloudflare, it makes sense to use D1 because it's same ecosystem and you have it available as just binding inside your envs, which is neat. Cool, so I hope it was useful. As usual, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave comments. There's also a Buy Me a Coffee page if you want to support my work and my channel. Thanks a lot. See you next video. Bye-bye.